La STM vous souhaite la bienvenue à bord.
What is up? Welcome to Metro Anarchy. My name is Fleek. Metro Anarchy is a Cities Skylines video series focused exclusively on public transportation. We only do public transport. We find a city on the Steam Workshop, pull out all of the existing public transportation, and then try to rebuild it from scratch. We have done a metro, and then last episode we did buses here in the Bad City. We're going to go back and try and do another bus line. I have a couple more ideas when it comes to buses. As I mentioned in the last episode, I want to try and build one big, giant bus line and then delete all of the stops that aren't being used and see how that impacts the use of the buses and also our metro, because we keep running into the problem that the buses cannibalize our metro. So somebody noticed that my intro is the welcome aboard announcement from the Montreal metro system, and that is the case. In fact, my logo is also an adaptation of the Montreal subway metro logo. So love the city of Montreal. It just happened to be one of the metro announcements that I could find in high quality on the web. So that is the way that worked out. Keep sending in your feedback, interaction, email, Twitter, comment. Keep sending in ideas. I really appreciate it. And as always, if you like the episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like what I'm doing on the channel, consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, mash on that bell so that you get notified of upcoming episodes. So let's jump in and see if we can build a monster bus line here in the Bad City. So one quick note before we jump in on the bus line. I have decided that I am going to abandon trying to do the vanilla builds and use the improved public transportation mod. What I realized was that I wasn't sure what impact the improved public transportation mod had on the metro. So I loaded up when we got done with the metro in the Bad City, and I let it run for about 3 months, and the result was really no change in ridership. It stayed just about exactly the same, 3,600 and 600 in terms of the metro ridership. So we're going to jump in and make this bus line. Now, we can't make one bus line for the entire city. The highways really make it very difficult to put bus lines across the highways. So I am going to focus in on this area right here. It is where all of our high density, or at least most of the high density, is in this city. And as we saw in the last episode, the bus ridership in the high density areas is much higher. So we're going to focus in on this section. I thought about how to do this. I think the only way to do it is in a time lapse, and then we can come back and take a look at the overall ridership on the bus line and then delete out the bus stops that we don't want to have any longer because they're not being used very much. So let me drop into this time lapse, get this bus line built, and we'll be right back to take a look at those bus stops. All right, so here we go. I changed the bus line to a nice bright red so we can see everywhere where it goes. And you can see in the time lapse that I just went bananas. And we went all through here, all the way up through this heavily populated area and then down around here. And then once I got to this low density area down here, I decided to stop, and then we'll just we brought it back to the beginning point, so it creates one big line, and we ended up with 51 stops. So let's go ahead and jump in and select the types of vehicles. In the improved public transportation mod, you can select the different types of vehicles. We're going to choose the double-decker. Those seem to be the most efficient from what I have found. This is just a higher capacity regular bus, and then this is the big long accordion bus. And while these do have higher capacity than the double-deckers, they take up more space on the city street, so I really like the double-deckers. So let's go ahead and let this run for a little while and see how our mega bus line does in the bad city. All right, I think I've got to jump in. I was going to try and wait to let the buses get all the way through the system, but they already are showing some bus stops that just are keeping the bus line from doing what it's supposed to do. So we got 0 waiting passengers here. One of the things that's great about the improved public transportation mod, it lets you look at each individual bus stop and see how many people have used it current week, last week, and on average. So 0 passengers waiting here. Of course, a bus just got here, but single digits. We're just going to go ahead and remove this bus line. Right click, bus line gone. Next stop. Let's check the next one out. Oh, it doesn't let us do that. So we've got a bunch in here that also, again, this one total, it's just getting to 10. Nope, we're going to get rid of this guy. All right, I'm going to continue through here and try and clean this up a little bit and see how this goes. I'm not looking too hopeful, but we will give it a shot here and be right back to see how this bus line shapes up. All right, so I'm still letting it run, and I don't want to give away what the mid-process results look like, but I do want to show you the bus stops that we ended up keeping. Out here, this area, last time there was a single bus line out here, and it was the most heavily used, and on this try, it wasn't used at all. There were just tons of empty bus stops, so those all got removed. It still pretty much covers the entire area. Kind of zigzags a little bit. I mean, I don't know if there was any rhyme or reason, but it does, really go all of the places that I originally put the bus line. It just thinned out the number of bus stops overall. So very interesting. So all of these high density areas do attract bus riders, but it's just impossible really to tell exactly where they're going to congregate. So this may end up actually being a fairly decent way to build bus lines that work, but they certainly aren't all that efficient, and they look terrible. I mean, look at that bus line. It just looks weird and dumb, but oh well. All right, well, I'm gonna continue to let this run for a little while longer, and then we will come back and take a look at our results on our crazy monster bus line. So we will be right back after we let this run for a little while longer. So let's go ahead and take a look at our results. First, let's look at the bus line itself. 282 total passengers, and no giant bus stop problems. There's a bunch of people waiting there, but there's a bus about to get there. Same here. There are buses on the way. Bunch of people waiting there, but also bus on the way there. So overall, it kept the bus line pretty much under control, but the overall numbers just continue to struggle. We take a look at the overall numbers. Our overall ridership dropped by about 200. It was just under 4,700 when we started this, and it's now just under 4,500. So we've lost about 200 riders. So I'm going to have to think about what we're going to do here in the Bad City. Maybe we will come back and do another shot at buses, but I think maybe we will move on and try a tram next time. So let's wrap up for this week.
We interrupt this program for this breaking news report.
Hey, this is Fleek from the future. I wanted to drop in and point out something that I noticed. There's usually a little bit of time in between when I record my episodes and when I edit them. And I was goofing around, and I noticed that in the statistics, I had actually let the simulation run for quite a while, and I noticed in the city statistics that the population, this decrease had actually continued drastically going down. And that's when I realized that one of the mods that I have is this no problem notifications, and I had disabled death notifications. Those of you that have played this game quite a bit probably know where I'm going with this. I'll switch to the transport screen because it's easier to see all of the notifications. But as we scroll in here, it is just absolute death wave across the entire city. Absolutely everywhere. I see dead people. So that probably had something to do with why the results weren't making any sense. Absolutely all over the entire city. There are just death icons everywhere you look. So we will return to the wrap-up that I recorded earlier, but I just thought that I would record a quick little section and let people know why exactly the frustrating results that I got were what they were. So with that, we will return to the normal end to the episode.
And now back to our regular scheduled programming.
Well, at this exact moment in time, I am pretty fed up with buses, but we'll have to see how I feel next week and whether we come back and try some more ideas on bus lines or if we move on to trying a tram. But if you have a city that you would like me to work on in an upcoming episode, you can upload it to the Steam Workshop. There are directions in the description below. And then email or tweet a link to me so that I will know that it is out there. Keep sending in feedback, any ideas on things that I could try with bus lines, different styles of bus lines that we could try in future episodes. Email, comment, please keep sending in ideas. I really do appreciate the feedback. And as always, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit that bell if you do subscribe so that you get notified of upcoming episodes. So will it be a bus or a tram next episode? You'll just have to check back then. And until next time,
mind the gap.